Hi guys, I'm Al, and today I'm here to talk a little bit about using the EQ tools. These are the EQs offered exclusively by Slate, and these offer some excellent plugins. I have a song here that, while it's tracked, it's not really mixed, and I'm thinking maybe as we go along and start adding more EQs and more compressors, we get a little more advanced, we'll watch this song kind of develop. So I'm going to cut right to the chase here. Open up the Pro Tools session. And you see here we have quite a few tracks. Now, just so you know, none of this is quite mixed yet. It's mostly just a bounce of tracks. And so let's dive in. Let's kind of see what we got going on. I'm going to play from the beginning through maybe the first chorus.
I've been looking for a girl that I could call my own love. Just another lonely lover who has never known love. Hide with me, believe in something, live for what we found. Baby, let me lay you down. Baby, let me lay you down. Every time I turn the television on, I wonder.
Cool, so you kind of heard an intro, a chorus, and the beginning of the second verse, maybe the first verse. So we're going to jump right in here. We're going to start by kind of talking about some of these drum sounds. And I'm going to show you a couple tools you can use just when you're starting to EQ your drum set. And Willie will talk about it after that. So here we are with the drums. So what I'm going to do is throw these all in a quick group. We'll call this drum mix. And you'll see that when I solo them, they all solo. And this is what we've got. So the two most important elements of any pop song like this are going to be your kick and your snare. You might have guessed as much. Right here we have a regular kick from something like a drum set. And you can hear it's got some grit to it. What I'm doing now is I'm just kind of listening to the characteristics. I'm trying to decide within the frequency range of low to high what I like, what I don't like, what I want to keep, and also what I think it's going to blend in with the other stuff. So there's a couple things going on, particularly in this acoustic kick, that I want to get rid of. So let's open up our virtual mix rack here, and let's put in just a nice multi-band EQ that is kind of cover our frequency range from low to high. We can start cutting some stuff out. Most engineers are going to tell you, you always cut before you start adding stuff. And I see a lot of people, they want to get in there right away and they love stuff, they want to put it up, it's super tempting to do. But the best thing to do is to cut things out that you don't want. And then you can use a different EQ, something that's a little more colored, to add a little more character to it. So I'm going to start here and I'm going to start listening through and finding some frequencies I'm not a big fan of. Here we go. So I'm listening to both of these. I'm not really a huge fan of what's going on in the 2K. It sounds like kind of fake. It sounds a little airy. These are electronically made drums, so what I'm trying to do is just make it sound a little more realistic. So I'm going to dip this about 3 to 4 dB. That looks about right. And then we'll listen to it with it in, and here's with it out. So it's starting to take a little more form. You can it sounds a little more focused to me. It sounds a little less crazy and erratic. I think it's going to fit in the song a lot better. Next thing we're going to do is there's something around here between 600 and 800 that I also don't like. So I'm going to try and see if I can find that guy. Oh yeah, you hear that 600 hertz thing? It's kind of strange, and I think I'm going to take that even farther down. There we go. And that sounds like a nice kick to me. Last thing that I usually do is I'll bypass it in and out so I can kind of match the volumes. You notice that since we cut out frequencies, it's just a tad quieter. So I'm going to raise it maybe 1 or 2 dB just to accommodate that. Very nice. Let's listen to that in our mix.
Baby, let me lay you down.
It's out.
Baby, let me lay you down.
See how it just kind of fits in there a little nicer. Now what we do next is I like to add some character. So if we go down here, we cycle through our EQs. One of my favorite EQs is this guy right here, the British EQ from Slate. And what I like to do, like to add 2 things. One, a bass drum thump, and I also always want to make sure you have that click coming through. Now when you're listening on nice big speakers like I have, you can always hear that thump that hits you right in the chest. Most people actually are listening on pretty bad headphones or on laptop speakers. So you're going to want to have a little bit of a click to your kick as well. So with this EQ, I'm going to kind of find some of that. And you can see this one actually has filter sweeps, so I can kind of go up and down and find those.
Baby, let me lay
And I know for a fact that the high frequencies usually live around 10K. So I'm going to put this to 10K right now. We'll start there. Hear that?
every time I turn the television on. I wonder
You notice how I'm listening to the whole track now when I'm adding stuff.
what is there to stop us all from going under?
So just living right about there. I'm just going to take it back down to like 3 or 4.
Why don't we, baby, let me
That's nice.
lay you down?
Last thing we're going to do, we're going to turn this into a bell frequency. We're going to take it to around fundamental here. I think it lives around 55.
Let me
We're going to try and play with that. So you notice 2 things. Number one, when I boost that low, the peaking is just way up there. When you boost low frequencies, you're just going to get a lot more volume. That's something you have to always keep in mind. It's super easy to go overboard with this kind of thing. But I'm still finding this low frequency. I'm going to take that into account.
Baby, let me lay you down. Baby, let me lay you down. Every time I turn the television on, I wonder.
I'll let you listen to it here. Listen to that. That sounds nice. Last thing I'm going to do is I'm going to do a little dip. Usually one of my little tricks is I do a dip at around double. So we're going to be looking at around 120. But since this only goes down to 200, it's still going to work pretty well. Make it a little wider and we'll dip it. And this kind of helps to smooth out the fundamental of the kick. And listen to that boom. It's nice and healthy. And since we aren't compressing anywhere in here, it's pretty much okay to turn this down anywhere along your chain for now. So since we boosted here, if you remember, I can actually take it back down, and we should be back to where we were at the beginning. I'm looking at the meter there. And let's try bypassing this whole thing. And listen to that difference. That sounds like a good kick to me, and I think it's a great place to start. Now, as things go on, you might notice that you need a little bit more of that click, a little bit less of the thump, whatever you like. But this is a great place to start right here.
Baby, let me lay you down.
Now, last thing I'm going to do, I am going to duplicate this onto our snare. And I'm going to bypass these plugins. I'm actually going to get rid of this one. in this one. So we have a new virtual mix rack, and I'm just going to do a little EQing on the snare too. This is a Neve style EQ. It has a super characteristic sound. Most of the Beatles recordings are made with Neves. I mean, so many famous recordings are made with this thing. And one of the things I like is that you can kind of get some interesting frequencies out of it, and it kind of almost like drives the preamps, or drives the EQ unit a little bit, so you get a nice smooth and full-bodied kind of boost. I'm not going to, just for the sake of time, I'm not going to cut out any frequencies in the snare, but what I really want to do is bring out that ksh of the snare, kind of the papery sound, just so that it hits a little harder in the mix. So I'm going to search and destroy this one. I'm going to start here. So it's not up there, and it's not down there. Somewhere around there. I'm going to take it back down. And just for safe measure, I'm going to come down here and cut a little bit here. Just no difference there. And that really comes through just so perfectly, doesn't it? I might even drive a little bit. So next time we will go a little more in depth into the EQs. I hope I just gave you a little bit of an idea of what to do. Thanks for watching.